To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Brian Barney.
Hey, what's happening, guys? I got a brand new podcast for you. So this comes straight to you from elk camp. We had just got done backpacking, and then we were kind of home basing out of my house and hunting mornings and evenings. And it's with my good buddy Dan Heavrin and my buddy Logan Summers. Dan's been a really good friend of mine for just years. He's been on a ton of different adventures with me. The guy is consistently successful on quality critters. He's really knowledgeable. He's got great instincts, and he's just been a great friend to me. He's just a good human being, and I really value his friendship, and I really value his input. And like I say, I've just been fortunate that I've been able to find a hunting partner that looks out for my best interest and looks out for me, whenever he gets the chance. So I'm really fortunate to have him as a friend. Logan's a new buddy of mine. I've known him for a couple years. He's been filming these hunts with me, and I've become really good friends with him too. He's a really knowledgeable hunter. He killed a great 6-point this year. It was that photo on my Instagram of that one that died in the river, but he was able to harvest that, and then he went out with his other buddy or his hunting partner, able to get him a bull after something like 12 or 14 days of hunting elk. So he knows how to go for it. The guy has no quit in him. He'll follow me anywhere to try to capture video and photographs. Super talented, and so just really fun to sit down and talk elk hunting with these guys. And so we were base camping out of my house, and we had a night where we just had a gnarly winter storm come in, and it was snowing and blowing and fogged in, couldn't glass and couldn't really hunt effectively. So we decided to sit down and record a podcast. But this is just great. When these hunts are fresh in your mind and you've been elk hunting so much, you're able to share theories on it and thoughts on it. And so we have just a great back and forth talking about elk hunting and hunting in general and hunting public ground and just a great conversation that I really enjoyed, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it too. Sponsor for today's show is Eberly Stock Packs. Just a great company with great products. The Eberly Stocks packs, they sure hold up. And I've been, to their offices and to their warranty department, and they have one guy that handles it kind of part-time, but they just stand behind all their products, and they build them to last through the test of time. They're marked at a good price point. They have packs for everything you can think of. From day packs, which I'm really loving. Their new kite pack is their day pack. I've been using it a bunch. I really like how it packs the weight. I like how lightweight it is, and I like the design of it, that you can get in through the roll top or through the front. So really excited on that. I use their battleship for expedition hunts. It works great. Gosh, it packs heavy loads really well. Able to pack, my deer in my camp out of Colorado, and my back didn't get sore at all, and able to get the weight on my hips, and good lift straps to get the weight off my shoulders, and just really good designs. I've also been using the little big top a lot. I really like that. I was using it for day hunts and then short expedition hunts. And so if I've got more gear I'm bringing with me for a day hunt, I'll use that. Or if I'm planning on doing like a pack out, killing a muley, and I have to get that plus all my stuff inside it, I'll use it. Or doing these small camping trips where I'm doing 2 to 5 days, I'll bring that little big top. I really like the weight of it. But they're just building great products. I really like Eberly Stock, and thanks to those guys for sponsoring the podcast and everything they do. Okay, and over there at Eastmans, there's the text messages are flooding in. Guys are really starting to get in them. I know Dan's had a great season. I want to get him back on the podcast. He finished up his season with a really nice 6-point, or finished up his elk season, or he might still be hunting elk in Montana. That guy just goes for it. Brandon Mason, I just did a podcast with him. Boy, he had a great elk season, put down just this giant 6-point with his rifle. And Scott Reekers killed a giant buck with his rifle in the Wyoming backcountry. And then I I saw Guy and Ike. They put down some antelope, and I think I saw a couple bears come through the other day. But everybody's having fun, getting in the outdoors, having some adventures. So it'd be really fun to catch up to all these guys, and I sure am pumped for them, and it's really fun to share in their success through these text messages and emails, and then talking to them, in over the phone. So super excited. We've got a lot of good content coming up. I've really got to get back to work. I've been hunting like a madman and trying to fit in my work in between, but I'm going to have to really focus in here and get my work done and get caught up a little bit here. But boy, it's been a good season. Sharing it with family and friends so far, which it was a big part of my goal, is just enjoying it and helping my friends out find success and get into critters. And so I've definitely done that. A lot of elk hunting days. It's just been a great season. I just really enjoying myself. So get some work done, and I've got a few days left here to elk hunt, and then we'll start focusing. I got some mule deer hunts coming up here in the late season, and maybe a coos deer trip. And so just get back to my training and get back to my shooting and working hard. The answer is to always put in the hard work, for season. And so I want to continue that and work harder than ever to find this consistent success. But what a great season, man, did I have fun. So this podcast, we share a lot of that. We share a lot of the elk hunting, and so let's get this thing rolling. I've been talking for long enough. So we've got Logan Summers, we've got Dan Heavrin, Eastmans Elevated. Here we go. Okay, I'm live here. It's hunting camp. We're getting into October. I got Dan Heavrin here, my buddy, and then Logan Summers, my buddy. We've been hunting, all three of us, for the last handful of days, going for it. And before that, we all have quite a bit of elk hunting time in. I was hunting with the Hawaii guys, and then Dan, you've been hunting solo, and then we did a trip early too.
Yeah, we did kind of like a scouting/hunting trip. Yeah, quick 2-3 days.
Logan, you killed a heck of a bull. You're the only one tagged out in the group. So.
Drowned one to death.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Shot him in the river, and then
that was a wild shot in the river too.
Oh man, yeah, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Liver shot, right? And then he just bedded down in the river.
Bedded down in the river, and then shot him again, and then shot him again, and shot him again.
Well,
he was just standing there with his legs locked, and I had arrows to fire.
Yeah,
so.
finish him quick.
I do that too. Yeah, they finish up shot, and they stand up, and sometimes they just take that arrow. I'll put another one in there.
It was like he was a 3D target or a mannequin or something, because he was just like his legs locked, and I mean, blood was just pouring out of him, but he was just not. He didn't fall. And I was just like,
I'll take another one.
He's not going any further than this. This is where he's going to die at. So just shot him and shot him and shot him and shot him. So
how was it getting him out of the river?
It's pretty hard, actually, to begin with, because, we had the guy there. One of my buddies there taking pictures, and I was just trying to drag him. I'm like, yeah, that's enough with the pictures. Like, we got to get this thing out of here.
Before he gets too waterlogged.
Yeah, we got him up on a gravel bar, and just butchered him right there. And it was nice because the meat was already cold. Like, we didn't have to worry about, like, because a lot of times I like to debone everything just because I just don't want the heat on there. Mm-hmm. And we just didn't have to. So we just quartered him out and had him out right there in the river. And
that's the way to pre-chill him, is to kill him in the river. Yeah, so, I have to remember that.
Wet aging him.
Yeah. No, that's wild, man. That's got to be like you see a few bulls die in the water, but in a river like that, in such a pristine setting, that was a cool place where he killed that bull.
I was pretty happy about it.
And a heck of a nice 6-point, too.
Yeah, that's my biggest one so far. I shot a bull last year that was a little smaller, but this year, he was just a beautiful. Whenever he came up, I was like, man, that's the biggest bull I've ever seen. It wasn't the biggest bull I've ever seen, but that's the setting, like the sun setting behind him. I'm like, that's the biggest bull I've ever seen in my life. And then.
Yeah, it gets you excited. That's awesome. Yeah, he's a gorgeous bull.
Every time it happens, every time one comes up out, I'm like, oh, he's huge. It's kind of like bears. Every time I see a bear, I'm like, dude, that's a giant bear, and it's like It's like 4 foot.
I'm an optimist too. Like everything I see, I think is a buck off first look. Like I gotta apologize sometimes to my buddy because I'll go, "Oh, there's a buck. It's a big one," and I haven't even put my scope on it or anything. Like I think it's just the nature of the beast. Or you see a big doe and you go, "Oh, that's a buck for sure."
That's gotta be a buck. Look at the color of its body.
Well, definitely at night when you're driving down the road and you just see a buck run across the road, you're like, "Holy crap, that's a good one."
Oh, they always look so big
at
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple bucks cross in front of us in the headlights.
Yeah.
And you just think they're huge, but they're not even that big. Yeah, they always look bigger, and always look bigger going away and on the skyline too.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
That's like that one buck who was like 130, and I was like, that thing's huge.
It looks so
giant.
good.
And it was just like the sun was rising. I'm like,
yeah,
we got to figure out something. And I got the spot scope out, and I'm like, oh.
Not a big one.
Yep.
That's just
No,
funny.
you killed a nice bull. That was awesome. Yeah, we're both trying to do the same thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long season so far. It's been actually pretty rough for me. Obviously, a good antelope season for both of us. And then, I got my mule deer a little bit earlier than what I actually wanted to. It just worked out that way. But yeah, chasing elk it's just been a tough year. I've been seeing them, had some opportunities on some giants. Hunting down in Idaho this year. It was a very tough, difficult hunt, but got on, like I said, giant bulls, and it was just desert country down in the sagebrush, super difficult, super loud and crunchy. And so now we're fighting snow and rain and blizzards and you name it. So it's kind of all over the place. It's too hot to hunt. Now it's too cold to hunt. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully it'll help us out. But yeah, Mother Nature really dictates like how the elk season will go. Like I've hunted 20 years in this valley, and just every year is different.
Yep, for sure. No, this place is kind of a weird one. You got the winds always. You always count on the winds, either some direction, and then the fog that we've been fighting the last few days. We put on quite a few miles. Let's see, the last 2-3 days, right?
Yep.
Kind of 2-3 days, and we fought. We had some nice warm weather, and we fought some early morning really thick fog, and finding out elk are talking. But you got to be pretty close to them to actually hear them in some of these weather conditions that we're fighting right now.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed too, is just hearing them bugle. Like you got to be fairly close. Like I've watched so many bulls bugle this year that I couldn't hear, or sit on the opposite side of the drainage with the vantage point and watch them bugle and the whole deal and can't hear a lick of it.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that they're not even bugling like a locating bugle. They're more of just like talking to their cows.
Yeah,
slowly.
Just getting after their cows.
Yeah, it's just they're just talking to their cows versus talking to
other bulls or
You think fired up it gets louder?
Yeah, I think they start really hammering like
that could
earlier in the season, and then now they're just kind of talking to their ladies.
Or if they're fighting off like a satellite bull back and forth, and he's getting worked up, you think his volume is
I think he gets
higher.
louder and louder.
Okay,
it's not really just a proximity thing; it's more of a how juiced up he gets.
I think it's air movement too.
Yeah.
I think that wind makes such a difference. Like
we had
I was
a pretty
hunting
strong directional today.
I hunted with my buddies from Hawaii there for a couple weeks, kind of off and on. But we found this giant bull up in this Alpine Basin at like 9,500 feet. And this thing, it was fending off satellite bulls and had 35, 40 cows. They were all over the hillside. And I could watch that thing bugle, and I was not that far away on the vantage point and couldn't hear him, And then
even
it got
facing you?
Facing me wherever he bugled. Just couldn't hear it from the vantage point.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for some reason I always feel like that. I always felt like that sound carried further, but and sometimes maybe it does. It's the right wind condition.
A cold, crisp morning when they first bugle and it's like calm, before the winds pick up in the morning.
That's true.
It seems like they echo up the canyon or up the mountains. You can kind of hear them really good. But yeah, this year it's been kind of weird. I've been noticing the exact same thing. I mean, I don't know. Just the weather or just the humidity, I'm not really sure. But, I can watch them. Same deal. I can watch them bugle, but it's like, man, I just can't locate. It's hard to locate to follow them into the trees or follow them up a drainage, 'cause if you can't hear them, you're just kind of going for it, just, putting on miles, looking for something to step out.
Yeah, that's what this morning was, an armed hike.
An armed hike,
yeah. That's what we got up to the top, and then
the rain started.
Well, it wasn't even that. There just wasn't. It's really hard to find them. If you're on top,
hunting the same hillside,
you're expecting them to be on, and you have no clue where you're at because you hike. We hiked an hour and a half, 2 hours in the dark this morning, and then you get up there and you're like, "Where are they at?" You know they're somewhere close.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can't see him, can't hear him, but saw him up there last night. A good bull on that hillside,
and we bedded them as a thing, and then they were just up before we were up. I mean, where we went, they were feeding towards, so we figured if we went up that side, they were going to walk. I mean, if they would have came our way, we would have seen them, or we would have been able to make a play right there.
Oh, we had a perfect wind too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome.
It was a perfect setup, and I've seen them do that. We've killed a couple nice bulls on that feature before, and like you say, they were bedding down at the end of night, but they were in their feeding feature, just where they were gonna feed and bed. But they looked like they felt comfortable right there.
Yeah,
like they were gonna hang out and then work up to us in the morning. And we got up there at a good time and just didn't have any come by. Dan, you had the same thing. I thought you were into the party this morning because we had spotted a bunch of elk up there and satellite bulls and cows, and they never ended up coming up.
No, they didn't. Ended up looking below and started seeing a few of them down below us, but bedded up on that private-public game again. They're not getting pressure down on the private, so it seems like the weather comes in and they sometimes hold up down there on private. So it's like you go up there and you can glass a couple bulls way down below you, but it's like, no, I mean, I'm in such a good position, and seeing all those elk last night, I thought just keep hiking up in some great country, and it was just kind of weird, just didn't produce this morning, but it's a great spot, and it was a good hike, that's for sure.
Yep, that's all you can do is just keep making your best plays, using your eyes, trying to listen to them, and like the weather. I was saying earlier how it plays such a huge role in elk hunting or any hunting you're doing. It just, the conditions are different every year. In 20 years of hunting this valley, it is different every single year.
Yeah, for
sure. And you find them in different spots. And sure, some of your same spots are good. Like I said, we harvested a couple bulls up there, and now we were hunting a bull in there today. They have spots they like to frequent, but it's not like they've been there every day of the season. The season's been 45 days long, and I've seen elk up there a couple times. Like, it's all timing. And right now we're starting to get the storms. It's pushing them into some of these spots that I like. I also have early high country spots. That's where we were finding them at 9,500. But it seems like elk hunting, it's so timing in a spot, and that doesn't mean that exact same date. It's kind of like those exact same conditions. And even the summer feed, it burns off different, or you get more moisture or less moisture. Like, there's so much that goes into it, and that's what you're trying to tap into during elk season, it seems.
Yeah, that's what early in the year. I mean, we had rutting bulls early. Like, people were like, no, people don't believe how early we had bulls like chasing cows, and it was like September 7th, and then you go to a different spot and they're still rutting, and it's like, it hits a little different
different throughout the state.
Each place is different. You may go to one mountain range and you may only go 50 miles, and then they could be rutting, right now in some other place, and it's just
cold
a bugle fest.
That's right. And I think the rut, I've said it before, but it really ebbs and flows. And these cows come into estrus, bulls get worked up, and then they all come out. And then it's a little bit of tending. Or I've even seen it where it's crazy rut action. And the next day, nothing's bugling, and the biggest bull is feeding off by himself away from the cows. It's just not happening. And those bigger bulls in these high-pressure areas, they seem to... They'll go down and breed the cows at night, but like you remember hunting in those high-pressure areas where the bigger bulls would go down at night and rut the cows, and they actually won't tend the herd during the day. They'd leave the herd and go bed off by themselves in some nasty hole and then come down there and bugle and rut at night. So it just ebbs and flows, and like you say, it can be going off in one mountain range and not in the other. And sometimes you think rain and snow kicks them off, and sometimes it turns them on, sometimes it turns them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like I've had it totally shut them down from the rut, where you're seeing bachelor herds of bulls again and other elk. But it's just at as those cows come in and out of that estrus, and you want to hit that time zone when they're rutting really good.
Yep. No, you brought up a good point today, or maybe it was last night. We're kind of we left a different mountain range to come back here to the home front, hunt over here for a few days, but we did it kind of backwards, where we spotted bulls last night and, where they're going to go feed and where they're going to go, bed, and where we predicted they'd be at in the morning. But it was kind of the opposite of what you actually wanted to do. It's better to almost glass them in the morning, see where they go in bed, and then hunt them. So right now we're just kind of flip-flopped. We're kind of backwards right now.
We are.
So, and then, tonight comes in, and visibility is, 50 yards maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, just ridiculous.
You can see the back fence, and that's it.
So right now I feel like we're playing catch-up at the moment right now. We're not quite – we don't have them bedded. We don't have them, super located right now. I mean, we got some ideas, but, yeah, it'd be nice to get back on track and actually have them just in the reverse. Know where they are in the after the morning hunt, know where they went to bed, know what drainage they're going to come out on and feed and stuff. So we kind of have an evening place. We can be up there on the mountain instead of being down low trying to glass all these hillsides and all these features. So I'm just a couple more days. Tomorrow's supposed to be a really nice day. It's snowing right now. So I mean that could be good, that could be bad, but
it's going to shake things up.
Yeah, it's going to shake it up. Worst case, I mean, geez, we're at least going to see new fresh tracks in the snow. So
yes.
we'll just see what it brings.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Change is good.
Yep,
get a break tonight.
That's what the place that I hunted is. It was just like a big break system, and we were up on top, and that's where we camped at. And if it rained, we didn't only sit in the truck because we're chicken shits, but we sat in the truck because like it would literally shut them up. Like they would be bugling, and then a cloud would come over, and I'm not kidding you, we would be down there, and it would start to rain. We'd put our rain jackets on, and you wouldn't hear a single bugle, and you're like, what in the world? I mean, these are like there's 9 or 10 bulls bugling in this place, and it's just like it just shut it off completely, and we're like, did someone hit a light? Like God hit a light switch or something's going on? Because we would just literally go back to the truck, make Mountain House or ramen or make a sandwich and just sit there and watch football or something and then once the rain stopped, we would wait till the evening hunt, glass up a bull and then make a play, and then they would be bugling again. It was just like every time they got wet, they were quiet.
Mm-hmm. Must be the moon.
It's moon.
Moon face.
Yeah, it was a weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird experience for me too. I mean, we were in just like.
You had good rut action though.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about like, man, that was the best elk hunting in my life. Like, I don't know if I would ever be able, like, I could go to some private ranch in New Mexico. I don't think I'm going to be able to top what happened this year. So.
God, I love that. There is nothing better in life than being in the middle of them, it's so fun.
Yeah, and the party is, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we've had some good encounters this year, and you guys were doing a lot of calling and having success doing that, and we used the bugles as a locate call, and man, I used to cow call years ago quite a bit, but I really like stalking them and moving in front of them, and we had a nice play at a good 6-point here a couple days ago. But I've noticed too, or what I've learned or picked up on this season, and we located this good bull. We were making a lot of plays when the Hawaii guys were here, good stalks in and on them, and we had this one bull one night, me and Rob did, and we caught him, and he was hung up kind of in these aspens, and the cows were out in front of him, and we made a play for the aspens and popped up on the aspens, and you know how long it takes you to kind of stalk in, and you're slow and you're quiet, and you're kind of going to where that elk last was. And I've noticed when I'm stalking these things, I almost have to go to where I think they're gonna be.
Yeah,
like if I see the cows out in front of the bull, like I need to make a play on those cows. And if we just would have circled around instead of gone for those aspens and just like a judgment snap decision call, like we would have killed that bull. And then we were behind that bull the whole night until dark hit. We rolled out. He went over the last bench, and we're behind him. Nothing knows we're there, and we roll up over the last bench, and he's like 99 out there in the open, and lights turning off, and it was like just this really nice heavy 6. But yeah, I've noticed that when stalking them is you got to try to pay attention where they're moving and just trying to get in front of them, and you can't because they move into the wind a lot. So a lot of times you're trying to flank them, you're trying to cut off a spot. But that's one thing that I've really picked up on this season is hunting elk to where they're headed, not where they're at.
Yep. So you almost think hunting the cows, really, you know what I mean? Focusing on the cows, keeping track of where the cows are going to be. Basically, you can say that. I think anybody that's hunted elk before can say they can predict where the bull's probably going to end up going. I mean, most 99% of the time, he's eventually going to go to where those cows are. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a hard thing to do. You see a 6-point, and you want to go up to where the 6-point's at, but you almost have to predict where the 6-point's going to be if you hunt like you and I do. I mean, spot and stock game, we're not setting up with a decoy or setting up in the brush with 2 guys calling 100 yards behind us. We're not playing that game. A lot of times we hunt solo. So how are you going to set up a call into these elk when you're hunting solo?
Well, I think you can, man. I think it's these guys had success doing it, and I think it's the same thing. I've always believed it's where you make the sounds from, not the sounds you make. So if you get in front of those elk or get to where they're headed and you give them a few cow calls or a couple, they just seem to come check you out. Now, I always believe that you call in more satellite than herd bull, but man, guys kill herd bulls every single year. But I really think it's it's not just chasing them, calling at them, and there's like this art to it of trying to get in front of them and move around it that I think a guy can get really good at. So, like, I think all these tactics apply to it. Yep. But, yeah, it's getting in front. Like, we had a bull with a lone cow that came out in the meadow, and, man, if they just would have fed there, we would have killed them. But they were on the move for some reason. Not spooked, not just moving country like elk do. Elk love to walk. Yep. You know, they're just nomadic by nature and just walking away. But if we would have gone to where they were headed instead of getting in behind them and then trying to trail them the whole night, you know, like we probably would have killed that bull. And we came dang close. We got in bow range like 3 different times. But I really think that's the key to it. Whether you're calling or whether you're stalking is being where those elk want to go.
Yep. Yeah, predicting where they're going to be.
Yeah.
No, that's a good. That's
and
a good way.
Flanking them too, like they're always moving, nosing into the wind, it seems like, whenever they're moving. And so, like, you can't get in front of them all the time. So then it's about trying to cut them off or, you know, keep that,
playing the angle
wind right.
game.
Yep. Well, and you were talking about hunting them in the evening. Like, I love the winds you get in the evening.
Yep. Yeah, because a lot of times they're up on a mountain. They're usually going to start feeding down or across. You're down below. You got your wind right. You got your thermals coming downwind. I mean, yeah, you got some elevation to gain, but you can play the angle game. You can cut them off right to left or straight up, and they're, you know, you're always, you know, your wind's going to be good. So it's just predicting what the country looks like, or, you know, getting cover. But I mean, you can almost play even if you wait back and wait for them to come down to you. I mean, either way, you can, you know, go up to them or wait them out. But at least I feel like you almost have the upper hand, kind of, you know, because your wind's in your favor. You kind of know where they're headed. You know, the only thing that I don't like about evening hunting is you lose light.
That's the same thing.
Oh, it drives you nuts. You finally get in. Yeah.
And you waste a morning.
Yeah.
That's what all of us the other day were like, man, we gotta go. We just gotta go. We gotta go. Because if we didn't go up there this morning, we'd have just been stagnant, sitting in the house all day. And
yeah.
I was getting cabin fever. I was only here for 6 hours or what after we got back from hiking this morning.
Yep.
And got back here, and you guys had left because I didn't have any dry shoes for some reason.
You're out of boots.
I was out of boots. All my boots were wet. Like, the insoles were wet. There was nothing I could wear, and I didn't bring my $70 flip-flop. That's a story for another time. But, yeah, I was just like, I mean, after you've hunted as much as we have, it's just like you're not hunting or you're not doing something. You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you got to be smart about it, though. You got to be smart. Like today, I mean, you got to admit the ceiling fell down today, and I mean, like I said, visibility is nothing. I'm not the type of guy that just goes for a hike with my bow in my hand. If I can't hear him, can't see him, don't know if there's elk in there, I am not gonna just hike across the hillside, because that's never worked for me. So I just, I'd rather hunt a little bit smarter than that. So yeah, it's good. You know, take a little, breather today and go through the gear and dry things out and kind of make a solid plan for the next day. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, get some good dinner in us tonight.
We got to stretch the legs this morning too. And
we went. We both. I think all three of us really went for it. It was a good hike this morning. I mean, man, I know I hiked for several hours just nonstop, so it was good.
Yeah. I wish I did. Brian did. I did not.
You took a little break?
I was trying to keep up the whole time.
Oh, you did great. You made the top. Yeah. Heck, we were pushing, trying to race daylight, just trying to catch him up there.
Yeah.
But
if we do that again, we're gonna have to wake up a little earlier because I was doing pretty good, and we got to like our first 1,500 foot climb, and people are not gonna believe me whenever I say this. Like 1,500 foot climb, Brian did not stop one time.
Yep. Just go
and
for
it. I was like. And I didn't stop, but I'm way slower walker. I'm like an old man. I'm
did you guys
24-year-old.
Headlamps this morning for quite a ways?
Headlamps, and then we shut them off at the final ascent.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, I'm like a 24-year-old, old man. Like, I just walk slow, but I don't miss anything. That's my claim to fame. I'm just like, man, you guys missed all this crap.
Hey, you had an antelope buck at 20 yards a couple days ago that Brian and I didn't even see coming. And you were turning around getting ready to throw it.
Yeah, and I didn't have a bow. All I had was 2 sheds in my hand.
Yeah. So, we missed that.
Yeah, I'm just walking slow, and these bucks or these does come out, and they're like 10 yards at one point. And I was like, hey, look back here. And Brian turned around, and then just a masher buck comes out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have a bow. Bow's in the truck. I'm a camera guy.
No, there's times where I think I am at fault, or I kind of put my head down and start rattling off the miles, or just going for it, and maybe I should slow down just a little bit. And
that's why you guys make
the
best of friends.
Just hiking?
Yeah, you guys are just two peas in the pod. So when we went to Colorado, Brian's like, once the pain starts, I just don't stop. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Trust me, I've watched you zigzag up and down this mountain and just never stops.
Oh, you gotta love the burn. I mean, once it starts burning, you know it's doing something, and you just kind of have to put a smile on your face and grind it out. It's kind of how all of our adventures go, whether it's camping in a ditch or camping in the underneath the truck or in the back of the truck or up on the cliff or in a tree or wherever it is. It just you just kind of endure and do it.
That's what this year was good, because I just found like my pace, and that's where I'm. Like I know where my rev limiter's at, and that's where I'm at.
Hey, if you know where you're headed, it's all good. If you know where the guy's going to be, you're going to meet him. What's the big deal? I mean, it don't matter.
That's what Colorado. I mean, we got up there, and I mean, it was a long way.
It's a real deal.
I've been there several times.
That's a real deal. High country, 13 miles, one direction hunt, and we got in there, and the next day I wasn't sore. Like, didn't have any issues. Didn't have calf soreness, leg soreness, anything. So
see, the miles in that place doesn't bother me. No, I'm not kidding. Miles don't bother me. It's the gain and loss and gain and loss and gain is what gets a guy. You know, like I said, miles. Shit. I can go for. I could hike all day nonstop. I'm not worried about that. But
it's
man,
it's the three.
That
the
5,000
foot.
Yeah, the 5,000 to 13,000 to it's just like, holy cow, this is a good go.
Elevation's a killer.
Oh, it is. It really is.
The equalizer.
The equalizer. That's what we call it the whole time. Like, man, there is not a lot of dudes doing this.
And you're always walking up. I don't know how that works. It should be half and half, but you feel like you're always walking
uphill. The old
uphill.
adage, like your dad always said, like, I used to walk to school. It was uphill both ways. And carried my shoes over my shoulders. That's what
it feels like.
That's what it feels like.
Oh yeah,
it was fun though.
Sure.
High country. It also takes it out of you, that high elevation. You know, it's more exertion on you. It's like I think it's less oxygen. So what makes sense to me is that you get less oxygenated blood as well, and so your muscles fatigue faster too.
What I notice is your recovery time, like you're exerted. You got your 30 to 45-pound pack on your back, and we're down at this elevation. I mean, I could recover in just a few minutes, right? Go for a good hike, get the sweat, get the get the burn. You stop for a couple minutes, some deep breaths, and then you're back to normal. You can go again. Up there, I think is what I made a mistake with, 2 years ago, is I felt like I should be recovered by now. Like, man, come on, I've done this a ton of times. I should be recovered. So you take off a little bit too soon. I think you got to have that in the back of your mind. It should only take me 5 minutes to recover. You know what? What's wrong with taking 10 minutes to recover? And I think that's what kind of got me. I mean, I got that elevation poisonous or sickness or whatever, and it's the first time I've ever had it. But I want to make sure I never get it again. Even if that slows a guy down, that's not a big deal. If you're going to get there and you want to spend 7 to 9 days up in that kind of elevation, I don't care if it takes 24 hours to get there.
Pace yourself.
Yeah.
Well, the faster you go, like I know, marathon running or even 10K running, like I can run a 10K, no problem.
Sure.
But when I try to run a 10K at a breakneck speed because I'm in some race or something, I blow myself up and exhausted by the time I get done. It's all about the pace you set, and so, if you set a pace that's faster, than the miles you have to go and the elevation you have to climb, you're putting more stress on your body. You're going to be sore the next day, and you're running the red line. And anytime you're running that red line, you're on a limited amount of time, and that's going to run out.
So you gotta remember. I mean, hunting with you is always, I don't want to say a challenge. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But you gotta know. I gotta know my own limits. Mm-hmm. Not really worry about you and not really worry about you. I got to worry about myself and staying healthy.
That's exactly right.
So if it takes me 20 more minutes to get to the top, Brian's up there waiting for me. I'm not going to feel bad about that.
Nope.
He can wait.
Because it's going to take me 20 more minutes after you. So you have 20 minutes of rest.
Let the guy glass around and recharge and do whatever he wants. Take pictures. It doesn't matter. There are a few years there where I hunted with you, and I felt like I got to make sure and keep up with the guy. Well, that's not the fact anymore. That's not the truth. If I need an extra breather, man, I'm going to take it. Yeah. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your feet and your legs and your lungs.
Listen to your body.
Yeah, exactly. Let the guy get up ahead of you. That's totally fine. You let him scare off the bears or whatever. That's no big deal. I was going
first rattlesnake.
Going up today, and all these signs are like, make sure you hunt with a partner. Make sure you have bear spray. And I'm like, well, I'm solo. Well, I don't have bear spray. I'm like, this is a good start to my hunt this morning. So, yeah, way to be prepared once again.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, the elk, it was nice coming from where we came from. There's giant bulls there.
Yeah.
But not seeing the number of bulls that I've been seeing this year was.
Yeah.
You come here and then Brian's like, yeah, just check these two out or check these two faces out, and then I mean, didn't take no time. You're like, oh, there's a bull. Oh, there's some cows.
Yeah,
It's
weird out there. I hunted a new place I've never hunted before this year, and I don't know what to think of it yet. I'm still pondering it in my mind. I guess I'm used to hunting a different location where I was into bulls every single day. Mm-hmm. Maybe not very good quality bulls, but bulls nonetheless. So 6-point bulls. Yep. Used to seeing them. Used to being in them. Used to always being up a glass of bull multiple times every single day. And now I'm hunting this other spot where I do truly believe the quality of bull is there because I've seen it this year.
It's greater. It's greater than
unbelievable.
The average, yeah.
But straight up, there's 2-3 days you might not see a bull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or more. Or more. And that's hard on a guy like me where I feel like, man, I've always had the habit or the luck of always being able to find bulls. I've always been able to get into bulls. And I'm like day 3, day 4, and I have yet to find a bull. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Now I'm questioning everything. Now I'm calling Brian. Now I'm calling whoever. Like, what am I doing wrong right now? Like, I am not finding. I'm doing everything like I'm supposed to be doing, but I am not finding them. The country is just so vast and so big and very unglassable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you almost need to be quick. You got to use your truck more as a tool. And I am not a truck hunter or road hunter. I never have been. I never will be. But the truck situation or side-by-side, four-wheeler, whatever you're running, you think of it as a tool. It's got to be a tool. You can glass this feature and this feature. That's all you got. Yep. So
and I mean, you just got to move, and there's
you got to go, and you can't just jog. Where are you going to go? You got to get in the truck. You got to drive 20 minutes and go find another feature.
Yeah, because you may hike. I mean, whenever we hiked into that one spot, and we just lucked up and walked up on a bull.
Yeah,
like, let's just be honest.
Yeah,
like, that was just like
you're like, oh, there's one right there. I'm like, wow, really?
We parked the truck. We walk literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, oh, there's a 6-point, and I'm like, there's no way that this guy is this lucky. You know?
Yeah.
And
that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, and we walked over and then got on the other point, and then you could glass you could glass a big section, but it was 5, 6, or 4 miles away.
Very cut up
yeah,
section.
And you couldn't glass the entire thing.
Yep.
You could be looking right past some things, and they would only be.
Yeah, and I'm good about being on a feature and not just sitting there and glassing from one spot. I'll move to like 6, 7, 8 different spots on that one feature and get different angles, different brush, different. The sun starts coming up. You got to start picking out the shade. You got, I'm good at that. It's a different challenge out there, and it's a hard way to learn when it's October. Yeah, I'm still chasing to fill my tag. It's kind of frustrating. But there is bulls. There's some good ones, some great ones. Gosh, I had the opportunity to. I've only hunted a few bulls this year, but I had the opportunity on a complete giant down in Idaho, and it was just a pleasure. It made my whole 9 or 10 days down there. It made the trip for me. I ate my tag. That's fine. It was having the opportunity to hunt something that caliber made my entire 2 weeks down there worthwhile. It was incredible. It was just like breathtaking. Every angle on that thing I got, and I was on them 2 different days, like 3 hours, in the morning, just hunting this thing and doing everything right. And I'm not going to just fling a long bomb arrow at something like this or anything. But man, if I'm going to hunt this thing, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to get in tight to this thing because it was incredible. And so go out this new spot. Brian and I decided let's mix it up this year. Let's go get a different elk tag, and we decided to do that. It was risky. We were both questioning each other, like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And take the challenge. And we got out there, and I think you're the one that actually found this bull. I went back and hunted him a few days later and got right back on this bull. And from when we saw him, it was several miles off, and we both knew it was a stud. We didn't want to, like, how big you think? I don't know. How big you think? I don't know. Don't really talk about it. I got in close on that bull. I got in that bull inside 35 yards. And, it was, 3 brow tines on one side, split fifths, 14-inch kicker off his sword. It was just like, what is that? And it was just incredible experience, So, that's pretty cool. I don't think a lot of guys even get to see that caliber bull in several years, and I got on 2 complete giants this year. So I'm not real disappointed. It's just tough. I'm used to seeing a lot more, but sticking through it. I got a couple more weeks here, and hopefully notch my tag. Come down to the end, see where we're at.
Yeah, you spend a lot of days alone too. I mean, that's hard hunting.
Yeah,
By yourself is like people don't take that into consideration. Because I did a lot of days by myself last year. I'm like, dude, I'm losing my damn mind. Like, I went to gas stations to talk to people and stuff.
My name's Logan. What are you doing? No, I very much enjoy running solo. I feel like over the years, if I look back over the last few years of hunting, I hunt very well with Brian, I always have, but I feel like I've always been a little bit more successful being solo. I don't know why that is. I have no idea. I make I'm not really sure why. I do enjoy being alone.
Your intuition.
Shut the phone off, shut everything off, listen to a couple podcasts. Just kind of do my own thing and camp wherever I want and just kind of pick up and move. And I think you're the same way. I think you enjoy being there's times where being solo is just pretty cool when you're relying on yourself and your gear or whatever you're doing. You're relying 100% on yourself. 99% of the time, I don't have cell phone coverage, it seems like. So it's like I'm out here solo. And, you're up there in the middle of the mountain out dark and you're got yourself turned around and, you forget to save a map on Onyx and you're like, oh my gosh, what situation I just get myself in. But, I love that. I love the thrill. I love the challenge. So, yeah, I enjoy it and I'll continue to do it. It's fun.
Oh man, it is fun.
Maybe once I get older and I grow up, I don't get it anymore. But
it's fun to share the hunts with buddies.
Oh yeah,
and enjoy them together. But yeah, there's also something fun about that solo hunting too. You don't run any decisions by anybody. Like you make all the decisions. You're in charge of your own safety. You're on your own, and it's fun to take on that challenge too. I think it's fun to mix and match, do both.
Yeah, no, it's always nice. It's always great to hunt with a guy or a couple buddies, and you're traveling a long ways in a truck together, sharing stories and laughs, and I mean, come on, it's fun the whole time. We smiled all the way down, all the way back. We had a great time. It was awesome. So hunting with buddies is awesome, just as good if not better. But man, it's nice just to mix it up whenever you can.
Well, and elk are so. Everything's morning and night, it seems like. I mean, I guess antelope you hunt all day long. Bears you kind of hunt all day long, and even. In mule deer hunts, you can continue to glass for them because they're spread out throughout the country, and you never know when you're going to glass one bedded. But yeah, elk are just such a morning and night creature. Like if you're on them, like you may have a middle of the day hunt, or they may rut late into the morning, and you chase them back in there, and they're still rutting at 12 o'clock, and you still see them bugling throughout the day, and you're hunting them, or you bed them and get a stock. But a lot of days. If you're not on elk or they put away in the deep, dark timber, you got a long day to yourself to figure out how you're going to spend it. So it's always nice to hang out with buddies and then make a play for the evening. And a lot of time, you can use that middle of the day to be moving your camp or to be going deep in somewhere else. And we did like a bivvy trip out when we were out there. We keep like our running joke now is sleeping in the ditch. Like we didn't make our camp until after it was dark and we were on elk. It was a cool experience there. And then we're looking for a place to sleep, and we got lightning and thunder in the backdrop, and we've all gone super light. Like I have my bivy sack that doesn't even really work that well. Dan, you've got a tarp. Logan had a pretty good bivy sack that he's pretty comfortable with, but and we finally settled on this ditch is where we slept. Like this trail that laid dead down. Yeah, it was pretty flat, and it was underneath the tree. It was a good spot.
It was the best
for
of both worlds. It was kind of flat, and it kind of had cover.
Yep.
Kinda and kinda, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
We just settled.
But no, touching back on that, I'm not kidding, man. There's times where you might only have 20 to 30 minutes in the evening or in the morning.
Yep.
I mean, it's crucial to be at that spot.
And sometimes they come out as early as 5 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Or, sometimes in the morning they're out late. But a lot of times, you're right, 20, 30 minutes out in their feeding feature. And then they get back in that sparse timber and they continue to graze and move and rut. But it's back where you can't really see them. And a lot of times you can't go after them. I'll chase elk if I can see them or if I can hear them. And if I can see them, I can kind of move with them. If I can hear them bugling, I can keep moving in their direction and glassing in front of me, trying to catch those cows. But if I can't see them or I can't hear them, boy, it's tough for me to go in the deep, dark timber after them. I just feel like I'm going to end up spooking them.
Yep.
Just chasing waterfalls at that point.
Waterfalls and unicorns.
Yeah. I mean, that's like my style's like fine. Like I don't even like calling to them first. Like I always like
glass at first.
Visually seeing
Sure.
where they're at on like a certain feature before I drop into anything.
Yep.
Like calling, because I mean we've called bulls and you're like, oh, they're just the next ridge, and then next thing you know they're
on top of you.
Yeah, they're on top of you, or they're even further away, and you get set up and you're calling, and you're like, where's this thing at? You know, and it disappeared because he dropped down into, you know, just a coulee or something, and then he's coming back up the other side, and then it's like, man, he's right. I mean, it just like
happens
real quick, and
It's so tough if they bugle in different directions too.
Oh yeah,
you think they're different
turned.
spots.
Yeah.
Like I've had a couple bulls that I've just like still haunt me to this day. That they're giant big bulls that I want to be killing, that I want to be chasing, and I'm on them and I'm coyoting the herd, and I can hear them bugling and I'm moving with them. I'm trying to get to their bedding zone where they're going to feed around and calm down right in that location and look for beds. And all of a sudden he bugles. And it's like he bugles away from me, and it echoes off the canyon wall, and it sounds like he's in the next canyon.
Yep.
And so I go racing
2
down
ridges
there, and
over
I
or
just
whatever.
step down on him at about 30 yards and blow up the whole herd.
Yep.
Like, I've done that a couple times. God, I just kick myself. And I know, one of my Hawaii buddies, Sean, he had that where he, thought the bull was somewhere else, or he was trying to get the wind right and ran right into him and blew him up. And I knew, on his trip, that was what bugged him the most, is messing up on that bull. You hate making mistakes, but elk, you got to go get into them. You can't.
You can be aggressive with elk for
Yeah,
sure.
you can't just sit on the edges and watch them and just hope for this miracle encounter. Like elk, you always see them. Like they're never very close either. They're always way away when you see them, or you hear them. But you got to go chase them and get into them. You can't be afraid to go get into elk. And you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and you got to spook a few bulls before you can get an arrow in one. Like I just think you got to get into them, and you're trying to get the wind right and all the conditions right. And we're trying to be smarter, better elk hunters, thinking about everything and trying to hunt elk where they're moving and getting your wind right. But the truth of it is you got to go get into them. And sometimes when you go get into them, there's a cow you didn't see, or you make a bad move. But I think that's the way to hunt elk, is aggressively, no matter how you're hunting.
Yeah, because that's elk hunting. That's not elk viewing, because you can waste
Oh yeah, sit
days
back way
away,
too long. Yeah.
days and days away of just like sitting there glassing. You're like, oh, there's bulls, and then you're just like, oh, there's no, I can't. This.
I don't have
this
a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, this
right
one
now,
may be. It's not like. I mean, I feel like killing high country mule deer is harder than killing elk. I mean, because they are all. I mean, all their senses are heightened. They're up in a. You can make one mistake with them. You can kind of make mistakes with elk. I mean, just like today, they had those bulls walk out, and they were just a 3-point and then a spike, and I mean, we just stood there at 60 yards. And just like stood there still, and they were just like looking at us, like bobbing their head back and forth, and like then they just turned and wheeled away, and we're like you have more time with those, I feel like, than you do with mule deer, because mule deer sometimes, I mean, it's just like
you don't have that. You're just done. It's done and over with.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like they're gonna see the glare in your eye or something crazy, and it's just like they're looking right at you, and it's like.
Yeah, I've been able to get away with actually quite a bit more with elk than other animals. Like, I've always been able to, it seemed not always, but it seems like I've been able to reach down and get my binos out and look through it, or reach down, grab my rangefinder, click them off, put it back down. If you do slow movements in front of your body where you're not like, on the sides or anything quick, if you do anything quick, you're done. But man, they're a curious animal, and so it's kind of cool to be able to see what you can do being in tight with them, and it's always pretty exciting.
Yeah, they'll put up with a little bit more.
They will.
And elk make a lot of noise when they move through, and so therefore, you can make a little bit more noise moving through. They'll put up with a little bit more, and I have seen them like in those high pressure spots where they are like hunting an antelope, like they are on high alert. And then there's other elk that are wilderness elk that don't see very many humans, and they're pretty relaxed, and they're not expecting to see it because they haven't been chased all year. They haven't been bumped all year, and so they're just elk being elk. And then you kind of get your chance to move, and you can get away with a little bit more movement in the shadows and in the timber than you can on a mule deer and antelope. You can get away with more noise, and then you're right. If you freeze, a lot of times you'll get away with more. And I think, like you were saying, rangefind, like you can get away with a little bit more slower movement before they bust or break. And there's always exceptions to the rule, but I feel that way with elk too. And I like to hunt them aggressive. Like, I like to get the wind right, and if it's not right, like, I'm not always going to charge all in and go get into it. Like, I like to put them away to bed in the morning and then get on them in the evening, because a lot of times you don't have enough time to get to them where they're at, or they already make it to the deep, dark timber, or they stop bugling, and so then I know where those elk are at. I don't want to blow them out of the country.
Well, you can't keep track of, if these got 7, 8, even 20 cows, you can't keep track. You might be able to keep track of where he beds. You're not going to keep track of where all 20 cows bed. Mm-hmm. So what's your play? You're going to just sneak in there just watching the bull? I mean, I know what you're saying. It's super difficult, like a muley buck. I mean, yeah, you can watch him bed and watch his, 2, 3 other buddies bed. And they're usually pretty tight, and you can kind of see where everything's at. Elk, it's a different story. The bull might bed way above his cows or below his cows or off to the side, and there could be some cows and calves scattered throughout the timber. I mean, it's tough to actually go make a play in their bed. I mean, there's times where you can for sure, but yeah, I like what you said about watching where they at, where they entered the trees, where they're they're not going to go too far when they're it's late in the morning. They're going to looking for their beds, and so it gives you such a solid play in the evening to be within striking distance and let them come out to you with a good wind. Factor in the wind, of course. But
yeah, you can keep better track of those numbers when they're in their feeding feature. It seems like
when they're up and like single filing out or doing whatever they're doing or talking or whatever.
And every once in a while there is a good play on their bed. I'd say more open country where you can actually see them bed. Or I've seen them. I've also like coyoted the herd and I followed them to where they start bedding down and I'm already within 100, 200 yards. I'm like in their bedroom with them and they start bedding down. Well, then I can move on them a little bit better. But as far as like trying to still hunt them when they disappear in the deep dark timber, like, I mean, every once in a while you'll be moving slow through there and catch some elk, but for the most part you end up blowing them.
The only time I kind of enjoy doing that is those days where you have that high wind.
Okay.
And you get in there and you got your noises covered. Obviously your wind's good. You can just take your time and you get away with, even tripping over a stick here and there because you're up there glassing. You're looking at everything. I just feel like I've had some pretty good opportunities, in high wind situations where you can really get in tight to some elk because they're not, they can't hear anything in that high wind.
Well, and you do have to chase them into that timber at some point, and especially if they're calling or if it seems like most of the time they're moving. You're not trying to hunt them in their bed in that deep dark timber. You're trying to move and you're trying to just get eyes on them. But it's important when you're hunting that timber is to really glass it as you go too, is to really work slowly through it. Like you can't hurry through it trying to catch elk in the timber or you end up busting them. You really got to see them first.
Couple
and
steps,
it's an art.
Yeah, a couple steps and all of a sudden you can see around this tree. Well, you might want to stop and glass around that tree, So it's like any time what do you want to say, just the graphics in front of you or whatever you want to call it in front of you, everything changes a little bit. You better throw up your glass and just have a look-see. There could be a cow just sitting there staring in your direction. I mean, it's glassing is huge. It's the most important thing I do. I know that.
Well, something you guys have done that I've noticed, I mean, I do it to an extent, but you guys never peek over, you guys never walk over a ridge. Like it's like it's not even like, it's like a subconscious thought for you guys. Like it's instant. You guys stop.
No, anytime
and you guys
I see...
only thing's poking up is your head, and then you walk a little bit forward, and then you walk a little bit, and then you just slowly. That's how you work it.
Anytime you see sky in front of you or skyline in front of you, that is one of the most dangerous things you can do. Is just jumping over it or standing on the top. Everybody wants to stand on the top and look at it. Brian taught me a long time ago, years and years ago. We were mule deer hunting together, and I want to say it was actually back in Colorado. We used to belly crawl with our bows behind us or in front of us, belly crawl over these saddles and ridges. And you take a little bit of time, go really quiet and really slow, and make sure both of us and dragging our packs behind us are down far enough so nothing is skyline. Not anything about us is skyline. Then you can kind of roll on your side and roll on your back and throw up your binoculars nice and slow and glass. I mean, any movement on the skyline, you're done.
Yep.
No matter what animal you hunt. I believe any animal, even a bear. I mean, if you're up on the skyline, you move, you're done. Yep. They pick that up so quick.
That's funny.
Movement is like it's just like I'm looking from a different angle than you guys are always side by side or like right next to each other, and I'm always a little ways back, and I'm just like slowly picking, like seeing things you guys are doing, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Man, that's really cool. Yeah, that ridgeline assault is so important, and whether you're trying to pick up the animal or you're making your final approach, like you're always like exposing yourself. And yeah, we used to like we used to crawl over the top, not to skyline ourselves. But I think when doing those ridgeline approaches, you see how it's just like anytime any new country reveals, you throw your glass up on it. Like just you'll see an extra 6 inches of country or whatever it is, and then you take another couple steps and you glass, and another couple steps.
And don't just glass where you think he is. Glass way to the right and way to the left.
Isn't that the truth?
Oh man.
Because I mean that makes your play way easier because you can just back it down.
Yeah.
And then adjust.
Yeah.
Oh,
back out if you have to.
I need to back out and move 100 yards to
the
east or west or whatever, north or south, whatever.
Yep.
That ridgeline, it makes it way easier.
Take a different approach. Definitely, a lot of times these animals, definitely these bigger bulls, it seems like they go over a ridge or a saddle and they kind of hang out for a minute, or even if they're bugling or do whatever. Yeah. And like definitely where we used to hunt high pressured elk, it seemed like I was only successful chasing these things down and then letting them going over a ridge, and then holy crap, hold on, I would be a dead sprint to where they just went over. And if they're at an angle, maybe I'd go down 10, 20 yards below where they crossed, and I just like get an arrow nock, get ready, get a breath, get my rangefinder out, and then I'll just slowly go over the top. And a lot of times, man, he was
just
right
shooting
there,
top to top,
yeah,
or
he's
like
right there,
edge to edge, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I need to,
yeah,
because not so much the peeking over the top, but the cutting them off.
Yeah.
Because I've had some, I haven't killed an antelope yet.
Yeah.
It's still a little late in the archery antelope season, but I had some slam dunks this year, like layups, like they were like does were down in the bottom, and then there was a buck feeding along, and I was just like, oh, I'll just come over top and kill him. I'm like, and then I came over top, and he was already down around the next coulee, and he's looking right at me. I'm like, I am so stupid. Like all I had to do was go to the next, like. All I had to do was cut him off, and I would have shot, a 70-inch goat. I'm like, man, I would kick myself in the hind end for, like, days. I'm like, God, I'm so dumb. I don't know why. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just that's another thing. Hunting by myself, I'm just like, man, I'm so stupid sometimes.
I still do that.
Because I don't ever. About that. Yeah, I like whenever it's like me or Brian or us three, like we really talk through things and like. Yeah. Because we all have different experiences and have experienced different things. And
it's good to hear that. You can pick up on those ideas and be like, you know what, that actually, in this situation, that makes sense. I kind of like where we're going with this. And, it helps a lot. Yeah, it's wild. 2 minutes on the hoof compared to 2 minutes on the foot is a big difference. Animals can cover country so much more than humans can. It's like 100
miles per hour versus 5.
God. Even if they're just walking, it doesn't matter. It's like, man, those things can travel.
Yeah. Well, and we got to try to be quiet as we're trying to move, and that's the trick.
And they don't care. They're just crunching.
Quiet and wind.
Yeah. That's what today we were just walking, and it was like we would walk out of like a crunchy section. I'm like, oh, it's not this bad. And then there'd be another plant that had like wilted and died for like the next 100 yards. I'm like, I don't know what to tell Brian. Like, we're walking on marbles. We're walking on. At one point I fell and Brian just looked back and I was like,
what do I do?
It's like walking on marbles, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I went across
because it got slick once it rained too.
No, I went across. I think two actually pretty good rock slides up there. And holy crap, I was wearing the wrong boots apparently because, man, that was just like on ice. It was horrible getting across those rock slides. Those little tiny, sharp little rocks. Man, it got slippery.
Yeah, I was just like, man, I'm going to sit down here for a minute.
Hey, is there any way you can describe to me your Tennessee way of opening up a gate?
Oh, yeah.
First thing in the morning, wasn't it?
I'm much taller than these two, so I had to sit in the front seat, passenger seat. So that's in Montana, that's the dedicated gate opener.
Yep.
And about 6:30, I was still asleep whenever we pulled up the first gate, and I was dragging it backwards, and then next thing I know, I trip over the biggest dirt pile, and I'm just tuck and roll. It honestly looked a little bit like 007. Like I felt pretty cool. Like I played it off, but it wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't though.
I felt like you just
cut my thumb. Cut my thumb, and I was waiting for it to swell up, but it never did. So.
Well, I'm in the back of the truck, and Brian kind of looks at me a little bit, kind of glances back at me. He's like, boy, that's a different approach to open up a gate.
Just tuck and roll completely back.
We were rolling.
I looked like a 6-year-old at gymnastics class, just rolled flat on my back, and I was just like,
that was great.
You guys are just laughing. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm still asleep. Still dark out.
That was such a great time. Man, we laughed so hard. That was fun.
It happens quick. Guy
I'm
goes
really
down quick.
I'm the comedic relief on a lot of stuff. It's just like, Because I'm usually falling. I'm wearing moon boots for some reason because all the other boots don't ever last. And then I'm wearing these Hoka 1-1 boots that look like they're
got a giant
They
sole
got a.
on
I mean, they're super comfortable. I packed out my bull with them on, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, these are world class pack
Nice.
out boots. But yeah, they're you can roll your ankles real quick in those things.
Oh,
And,
I bet.
I mean, I don't really roll like it doesn't really hurt, but it's enough to get you off balance, and then next thing
Yep.
you know, you're falling with camera gear and all this other stuff.
It was great.
Man, it's in you fall really graceful, by the way. But yeah, like you don't fall. Like, you don't usually get hurt. You usually fall and you're back up and you know how to take a fall. You guys all played sports, and me too, I bounce back up. But, man, does it happen quick. And, and you really got to be careful. Like the rock slides you're talking about, man, you spill. Like I was trying to walk to look through the spotting scope or to say something to Sean, and I was walking by this rock that was protruding out, and I kicked that thing with my knee so hard, and that thing hurt for like 3-4 days. I could feel it hiking around, you know, and that's super minor, you know. It's no big deal, but that just it happened so quick. Or like you cut your arm, like I cut my arm on some lava rock in Hawaii, and you're always walking that lava rock. Like if you took a real spill and laid yourself out, man, you could really hurt yourself or break something, your wrist or.
Yeah, I've been dealing with this. I crossed a old rusty barbed wire fence. It's been over a week ago, and I got stabbed pretty good in the finger. And man, I've been fighting this infection ever since then. I'm still fighting it right now. It's still swollen.
We're going to perform surgery later on
Gosh,
tonight.
this
Cut that finger off.
It's been killing me. At least I can move my finger now. But,
Nine-finger Dan.
Brutal.
Yeah,
you got to be careful out there. I'm always worried about hitting my sight, falling down on my bow, and just totally breaking my sight off.
Oh man, I fell right on my bow this year. And it was just on a side hill, and I fell, and I had my bow right there, and I fell right on it. Man, it's still right on the money. Like it takes a lot to knock your bow off, I think. I got that stuff clamped down pretty good. But yeah, no, I'm always worried about it too. That's as a bow hunter, you're always thinking about your string, your arrows, your sight is a big one, you know. Yeah, and it happened so quick before you know it, you're head over
I'm
heels.
always sticking mine in the mud. I'm just like, I'm so stupid. I come from like a rifle hunting background. Like I never picked a bow up until basically came to Montana, and I'm just like always sticking like the cam in the mud. And I'm like, what am I doing? And like for some reason I'm the world's worst with bowstrings too. Like I can shoot one out in like 6 months, and it's like, we just got you a new one. I'm like,
well, you're tough on gear no matter what it is.
It doesn't
I've
matter.
been noticing that. Yeah.
Everything I own has got blood stains or it's got pockets are ripped out.
It's the
I
way
have
it's
no
supposed
clue.
to be.
I don't
All
know.
your glue fell off your boots the last couple days.
Yep. Well, that's because the leaf blower blew a hole in the muffler, not the leaf blower. The leaf blower did not blow a hole. The muffler melted a hole in my boots, and I just kept wearing them.
Were you running it with your feet?
Yeah, I was sitting. I'm super lazy too. I was sitting on a lawnmower, like a zero turn, and I just cranked the power all the way up and locked it in there, and just because I own a landscape company in Tennessee, and we just blew out the entire parking lot, and I would just run it down through there, so I didn't have to walk it. I don't know. It was a great idea.
That's
I mean,
a
it
good
worked
idea.
well, and
Until
then
it burnt your foot.
Then my sock melted to my foot.
That's always making do. Like, I don't know. You know, it's nice to have good gear when you're hunting, and you do need to upgrade items, but it's so much, and especially like when you're young and starting out. Like I bought a bunch of gear one year and then didn't have any money for gas. Like when I was really young, and so I made the decision. It's like, man, I'll make do with layering up, or I'll make do with the gear I got. There was a lot of years there where I used mountaineering gear because that's all I had. You know.
I feel like we all here have actually really nice gear right now.
Yep.
You know, over the years we've
do.
Collected
I'm spoiled.
or sponsored
I had a whole
whatever
garage full.
whatever we're at.
Yeah.
But how much of that do you actually use? I mean, we were hunting this last week with nothing on our packs. Like I said, we had a tarp and an air mattress.
Got all this nice gear, you know. I got
we're
this
sleeping out in the
Hilleberg
mud.
tent. Yeah, and we're sleeping in a ditch in the mud.
I
just
bought a
with nothing.
great big brand new enclosed trailer so I could sleep in it this year for elk season. I used it a little bit in Idaho. I haven't used it
so
in Montana
nice to
yet.
just travel in a truck. You
It
get
is.
good gas mileage, and then we just make do. I got that canopy that's nice to sleep under it, but you know, when you're with 3 buddies, it's like you can't just climb in the canopy and go, "Oh, good luck setting up your tents, guys. This is me."
Yeah.
So you know, you just set up. Well, and 2 backpacking around. But yeah, you spend all this money on gear and then you just go ultra lightweight. And a minimalist attitude is like bringing nothing. You know?
I feel like
and you spend the most money. Like minimalists are the people that spend the most money.
I know.
You're just like counting ounces and cutting your toothbrush, and then.
I feel like my favorite items I use day in and day out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's like sometimes I buy too much stuff and I don't use it.
Yep. You can make do with so little.
Yeah.
You just get your layering system for your clothes, your sleep system. My worst thing that I pack is my spotting scope and my tripod. I just hate those two items because they just weigh so much, but you just need them. You need them to pick it apart and to see those animals. But there's some trips that you pack that thing around with you and you never use it.
Yep.
Like our recent trip, that we just made. I pulled that spotting scope out and took a couple pictures of that 6-point bull that we chased around.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't look at a thing with that, Well,
I told you, I was like, what are we doing here? And you're like, man, we've got the spotting scope, so we better bring it. My mind went to, well, we only need one. So if you want to bring your spotting scope, I should have stepped up and be like, hey, give me the scope or give me the tripod.
I would have asked you if it was a big deal.
We usually do that. Actually.
Well, I'm carrying a camera and a tripod. Every time.
You always offer up your tripod too.
Yeah.
You always
I was
say,
like, we could put a base plate on it.
That's
and Brian's
true.
just like, no. I'm like,
we did it once in Nevada.
yeah, Nevada.
Did we do it? Did we share in Colorado? I think I may have brought my own.
Yeah, you brought it. Yeah, you brought it because we shot time lapses on it basically the whole time. But
oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
One
eventually
mistake.
we'll all find a
Yeah.
like you're carrying the stove, I'm carrying the tent.
Exactly.
He's carrying
I made a heck of a
so-and-so
mistake
and-
this year in my elk season. I was
Trust me with the stove, right, Logan?
I'm so thank the Lord. Brian shot the buck he shot because we get back to camp and we're cooking dinner that night and it just like water's boiling and it just dies and we look at each other we're like,
Uh-oh.
did your gas just go out, Brian? Like he's like, yeah, I think this thing's got a leak. I'm like, dude, we're 13 miles. Like, good thing we're packing this thing out today because
I have used one canister. Will last me 7 days for both
easy.
guys.
yeah.
But that morning I did not cook coffee because I felt the can and it was dang near empty. I don't know if I didn't get it screwed on tight or if I had a leak. And I've been using it since and it's been working fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told Logan I would bring the stove and the gas. And I think maybe you even packed the gas. Maybe I packed the stove.
I packed a half-empty gas can apparently.
No, it was full when we started.
But I was like, yeah.
Don't worry, you packed all the weight going in.
Yeah, he's like shaking. He's like, I think this one's full, and hands it to me. I'm like, okay.
That's my favorite trick. You're getting ready to leave the truck, and somebody's got to shoot their bow real quick. So it's like me. I sneak around and put the gas in his pack, or a 6-pack of beer, or a couple beers in the side. When he's not looking. It's like, let's go.
I just put rocks in Brian's the whole time, trying to slow him down. But
you should have a tow rope on him. Just hook it onto you.
I needed one this morning. That was the first time that I've hunted like an actual big mountain range since Colorado. And it was just like,
Oh, it's a beast.
calves are burning. I was
just-
feeling good.
That
I
is
felt good once I got to the top, but it was like halfway up. I'm like, man,
when you step
Brian's
out
gonna
of
have
the
to find a
truck.
different cameraman because I can't keep up with this guy.
When you step out of the truck first thing in
Yeah.
the morning, it's still super pitch black.
Oh, yeah.
You step out of the truck, and your first 5 steps are gaining elevation. You're like, whoa, what is going
It
on?
wakes you. You don't need coffee.
Ooh, I do, but yeah.
you don't need coffee whenever you got something like that. You're like, oh, this is real.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
it's
happening
immediate.
right now.
And I like, we were talking about it on the way back from over at that unit, 8 hours away or whatever it was. And on our way back, Brian, I think you're the one that brought it up. You're saying, when you go out there in the morning, when you start hiking, it's like, how many times do you put on 1 or 2 extra too many layers because you step out of the truck and you're shivering, you're cold.
Yeah.
And Brian's like, you know what, the best thing to do? He's like, step out of the truck. If you know you're cold, you're like almost perfectly ready to hike.
Yeah.
Because that first 5-10 minutes you start warming up, and all of a sudden you got a sweat going. So yeah, it's hard to do. It's like for me, it's like, man, I like to be comfortable.
Oh yeah.
But you start out when it's cold, and you're 15 minutes into it, and you're like almost perfect, or you just mildly warm. It's like just run that system. You don't want to start going up the mountain and sweat your ass off and get up there. Then you're really gonna get cold. It doesn't matter how many layers you put
I brought
on.
2 puffies today because I wore one.
Oh, you're still gonna get cold.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm saying I wore one and started walking. I'm like,
Oh,
man,
jeez.
Brian just told me about this like not even 6 hours ago.
Yeah, don't do
And
that.
I've made the idiot mistake
I
again and
struggle
still had
in-
too much stuff on. And I was like, I'm not letting Brian win this one. And I got to the top and I was like, I was like, man, where's he at? We were looking for each other, and I was just up there like teeth are chattering. I'm like, dude, I gotta get. And then luckily it started raining.
Luckily.
And I was like, I grabbed my jacket, like I had an excuse to grab another jacket out, put the rain jacket on.
The two things I struggle is hiking in puffball and hiking in a rain jacket. I sweat either way.
That rain jacket I have, that
yeah, I know that's.
I got
cool.
that
Sitka one.
Yeah, Sitka one. That I can't remember. I wish I could plug which one it's called, but it's just a sweet one. Yeah, I think it is the downpour.
Yeah.
But it's got zippers all the way
So
from
you
my
can
elbow
breathe.
all the way to my waist, and I can hike with that thing. I hiked the whole way down today, the whole way out the other day. With just like a sweatshirt underneath it or whatever. But that thing's been working
look into
good.
stealing that. That thing's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the same one I got. It works pretty well.
Yeah, I bet.
Is that the same one you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's pretty cool. No, I made the mistake today where I'm hiking and I keep feeling like I'm getting into elk. I'm into a lot of elk country and a lot of elk sign. It's like you want to keep going because it's like it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and you're trying to get to where you can just put eyes on them. Well, stupid me. By the time I got to where I was like, enough's enough, I'm soaked. Why not take a 5-minute break and put a damn rain jacket on? I just kept going through it, and I just pushed through it. Man, I got soaked in a hurry. I wish I would have stopped, took a layer off, threw a rain jacket on, and was good to go. But man, I did it at the very end of my hunt. But yeah, I need to get better about being a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and Sean, we took off after a bull at one point, chased him for I don't know how many miles. It was such a fun stalk. I had him into bow range at one point, and then we ended up busting the bull. We had him at 50 yards, and there was no shot through the branches, but he was working to open timber. We'd been trailing him forever. He gets into the open timber, and we make our move, and it'd been pouring down rain the whole time.
Yeah.
And we had rain jackets on. I didn't have rain pants.
Yeah.
I don't even think I had gaiters. It was ridiculous. Like, it was just grab your gear and go for this bull. It wasn't raining when we left, but rained the whole time, soaking wet. And so we roll into these open parks, and the bull catches us. He's up above. He had moved further, busted. He runs up on the hill, and so we kind of roll back to the vantage point and sitting there glassing around. And then I spot that same bull up on the hillside and was able to call him back into Sean. And he called him all the way back down the hill and couldn't pull him across this last meadow that we were kind of stuck on the edge of. He hung up.
Yeah.
And we called in another bull behind us. But it was right until dark, and I was soaking wet, and I was calling for him and didn't throw my jackets on or anything.
Yeah.
And, man, I mean, you can get cold in a hurry. Like, after that whole thing finished up, like, I hurry up and threw my puffy pants on and my puffy jacket and just had to start hiking and drying myself out because I was just soaking wet. It's amazing how wet you get when you're hunting in the rain like that.
And that's a good
dangerous.
thing about that Sitka stuff, too, is it's synthetic, and you can really, like, if you just put it over your wet pants, you can dry yourself out.
It did.
breathe.
It dried me out. By the time I was to the truck, I was warm and fairly dry. I mean, still
I mean,
damp,
you're still going to be soaking. Like, even today, I just had the rain jacket on, and we were just walking through grass. I mean, it was raining relatively hard, but I was literally wet up into my knees, and the grass wasn't but, mid-calf tall, and I was wet way past my knees, and I was like, man, what in the world's going on? But I may start.
It's that long torso, short legs.
Hey, I got the most awkward body proportions of all time. Got a long torso. I'm 6'2", 6'3". I got a 5'9" wingspan, and I got short legs
And a beard.
I look like I'm homeless.
Oh, yeah.
It's hunting season.
Yeah, you've been hunting a bunch. Yeah, no, you do good in the mountains, man. Both of you guys do. It takes heart. Like, it's easy to talk about. It's tough to do. When you're faced with that mountain like we were this morning, and the funniest thing was, so we go up, and like I know it's a big mountain. I know it's a big climb up there to hunt that spot. And so we go up the first thing, and it kind of graduates you in, and then it goes straight up this deal, and straight up, and then you hit the saddle at the fence, and then keep going over the top. And so we go over the top, and Logan goes, God, that was steep, right? And he's right with me, and we make it to the top. And I said, yeah, that's steep, man. And so we roll down into the creek, and we start going up. And I said, okay, we got one mean climb left, and then we're on the top of the bench, and then we're just kind of work our way up and out into the meadow. And he goes, well, yeah, it can't be as steep as what we just went up. And I just didn't say a word. I just started hiking, and it got steeper than the first section that we got up, right?
whenever I got to start, like, zippering it back and forth, I'm like,
Yeah, what is going
the whole
on?
time, realistically, the whole time I'm just cussing Brian. Like, nobody knows that. I'm just like,
he can't hear me right now.
Yeah, he can't hear me. That's why. But yeah, I mean, it was just like there was no. I'm usually like I just I'll just pick this. I'll walk this ridge line up and it'll be easier. It didn't matter at this point. Like you're like, oh, this is the easiest. I wonder how hard, like, the hard way would have been. Because I was picking the easiest way, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it gets ridiculous.
It doesn't look that bad up there.
No.
It looks small when you glass it. You just think
Yeah.
you'd be up there in no time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what whenever you told me an hour the other day, I just, like, laughed. And was like, yeah, you might want to add a little longer time on there. And then I realized he needed to add way more time. Because I was just,
Logan's going to wake up 2 hours earlier and meet us up on the mountain.
yeah, you guys will send me a pin because I'm going to have to leave a little earlier than you guys.
Oh, man. You did good up there. No, we were pushing to beat the daylight today for sure.
Yeah. And it was a weird day, too, because it was dark way after
Well,
daylight
because it
actually
socked in, and
Yeah.
then, the sun never really didn't come out very early. Yeah, it was kind of weird. It looked like those fields below us were starting to glow, but yeah, I mean, even up in those upper draws where I was, I mean, it took a long time before I can glass up in there.
I don't remember seeing the sun today. So that was that one day that we came out of the other spot, and it was just like wind was blowing, it was raining.
Yeah.
And we literally leave, and we get like 60 miles down the road, and then it's 85 degrees, and you're like, well, like
We just dealt with that wind and
we
the
had
rain.
a dark cloud over top of us for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, that's it. Hunting. Elk
it is.
season.
Oh, yeah.
Battles.
Into October, we're just about done. I think season has a week and a half. We're going to finish out the next, I don't know, a couple, 2-3 days, whatever you guys got.
Yep.
See if we can't keep on them. Starting over at square one. We do know where some elk are that.
Yeah, we do.
you
We have
know-
a game plan. We're not starting from ground zero. I feel like we know where some elk are, and we'll get on a few tomorrow. I'm assuming maybe it might be good. Like I said, the snow.
Oh, it's going to be.
It's going to be kind of like the first snow. Well, not the first, but almost.
Almost. Yeah, the lowest snow of the year. We
Lowest
had
snow.
that one snowstorm, and
Yeah.
it was pretty good right after that. So
Yeah, so tomorrow
I'm
might
kind of
be-
excited
yeah,
for
it'll be-
tomorrow.
I've never archery hunted elk in the snow.
Oh, really? You haven't?
It's my first time.
Oh, there you go. You'll be in for a treat. We'll put on a lot of miles
I
tomorrow.
can't wait.
Yep. Snow makes it easier to glass.
Yep.
And to
I
track.
hate walking through snow. I used to think it was so cool to hunt in the snow, and it is. It's a special experience. It's a late season deal, but snow for a bow hunter, it's noisy and crunchy. Won't be bad tomorrow because it'll be soft and
It'll be
fresh.
wet.
But and wet for
It's gonna
sure.
be very wet.
But it's kind of like hiking in the tundra. It's kind of like hiking on the muskeg. Like it takes more exertion to walk a mile than it does on dry ground. And it seems like almost 2 miles of snow is like, or 2 miles of dry ground is like a mile.
Especially
of snow.
where we're walking, because it's not easy it wouldn't be easy if there were no rocks to begin with. But then it's like there's just like, I don't even know what you
It's a
would call it.
boulder field.
It's a boulder field that has hay growing out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, oh, this is just a hay field. And next thing you know, you're just sliding down the mountain.
Man, some of that grass up there,
Oh.
it's so nice,
it
like
turned
stuff
into-
that isn't grazed by cattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that grazing is bad or cattle's bad, but boy, we sure have them over a
Some
ton of our
good
public
feed up
ground.
there.
Yeah, but up there, that feed is insane. Like
I
it
had
is
grass
chest,
I had up to my shoulder stay at the
Yeah.
backside.
like Jurassic Park hunting through the grass.
It was crazy. I was like, man, I wonder if I could even range or shoot in this stuff. And I pulled my bow up just to see if it would have clearance. And boy, it's tight.
Yeah.
I'd have to shoot a little weird on my tiptoes. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. There's some great feed up there.
Jurassic Park.
Hunting raptors.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we're having like the megalodon tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's find just a masher bowl.
Gosh, that's what we need.
Could happen
Yeah.
with this snowfall. I mean, that might push way more down than what we've been
It
seeing.
gets weird whenever weather happens. We've seen that where it's just
Hey.
like we went from seeing nothing to seeing bulls all over the place, and then this.
Knock on wood, but we might be packing out bulls for the next 2 days. I mean, you never know. We'll just play it
Oh,
by
man,
ear,
it'd be
roll the
so
dice,
nice.
right?
It
Yeah.
would be. It'd be so miserably nice.
Miserably nice.
That's what I like to.
It's fun to get into them, and if
Yeah.
you
Oh,
can
yeah.
get into the mass population of them, and they tend to group up in this October, and
Yep.
they're looking for second cycle cows coming into estrus, and
Yeah.
they just group up in these big groups where you can just have a big rut fest, where you can get into those numbers, and when you're into those numbers, you can mess up an opportunity, or it just seems like you're in them, and things happen. There's bulls moving around, and of course you're trying to kill that herd bull, but sometimes there's multiple herd bulls in
Yep.
there.
And that's the wildest thing is coming from the way I've hunted elk, which is the complete opposite of like actually like you would find like a smaller group and then try to call to the smaller group and then bring, either piss off the herd bull into the point of where he's coming to defend his cows, or you're just hunting super early in the season where you can cow call, a big bull in. And then you guys are just like, yeah, in my eyes, I would never want to have a bunch of cows because there's just more ways for me to mess up. And then you guys are like, yeah, we just gotta find where there's 100 elk at. And I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but
oh, it's fun when you
we'll
get into
we'll
the
get it
mix,
done.
and you got cows
Yeah.
on both sides of you, in front of you, and when you get in there and you're
Yep.
living or hunting, and you're in there for minutes or hours, and you got elk all the way around you, and every move counts. It's just like, it's something else. It's just a special time where you're at your prime, and everything's at like high alert and high focus, and where's he at? Where's my shot opportunity? And oh man, it's the best. I love that.
They keep those bulls bugling too good, where
Yeah.
you can locate them.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
active. They're very active.
I'll take a big bull with 2 cows too.
Yeah.
I'm not picky.
I'll take a solo bedded bull.
Yeah,
One that's
solo.
caught in the fence.
That's it. Well, they're just so nomadic, and they're just spread throughout country to where, the biggest part of hunting elk is finding elk. No matter if you're with the rifle, with the bow, no matter if you like to call to them, like to spot and stalk them, it's just finding them, And
Hey, public land's tough,
Public
man.
land, yeah, and that's it. Is they're just not up every drainage. They're not on every face, and so you really got to cover country with your legs, cover country with your eyes, glassing, and then also your ears, trying to get to places where you can listen for them, and that's part of the fun of hunting elk, and also part of the challenge. And you're not going to be in them every hunt or every day, but just locating them and trying to get into them, man, it's such a key to killing them.
Yeah, and people never believe me about. I think the hardest part of elk hunting during, where I've hunted mostly September, is finding them. If you can find them, you have a high percentage chance of having a chance at them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can muff it up and mess it up yourself, but you're going to have, you're going to get within that's really saying you get within 200 yards.
You're going to get a play.
You're going to get a play on them. And I think the hardest part is actually finding elk, or finding, some people finding a bull
Getting
they want to
yourself
shoot,
the
or
opportunity.
getting yourself the opportunity to mess it up or to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's way harder than the actual execution of the.
My biggest complaint is, and I've said this for years, is hunting the borders. This private public land, Montana, is pretty drastic, and there's a lot of private land around here, and I got to get better about it. There's nothing wrong with hunting these borders. These borders can actually be the best. It's where they're going to cross.
Yep.
They have to cross them. They're going to go up to better feed, or in reverse, they're going to go back up to their bedding, and I got to get more comfortable hunting down, knowing exactly where I'm at, and actually taking advantage of hunting these choke points and hunting these borders. I mean, why not push it a little bit and get down in there close and, cut them off.
Especially now with OnX, man, that has changed the whole.
Oh yeah.
You know exactly where you're at.
Yeah, because you may be on a fence line that's not actually.
Or it could be laid over or gone or missing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it could be. Because there's a lot.
That's why
there's
I don't
a lot
like
of
them.
landowners that
I never want to get myself in a position where there's even a question that I stepped over on the other side of the fence. That's why I don't like hunting borders. I would rather be way up in the mountains or way somewhere where there's not even a border for miles. That's my favorite. But I need to get a little bit more focused and just take advantage of that OnX and save some maps and look at it every 10, 15 minutes. Find out exactly where I'm at and learn. Maybe spend a little bit more time learning the area where I'm actually hunting, so I know exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, but there's no alfalfa fields way off in the back. That's where.
Not. Why isn't there? Why isn't there?
That's my home.
We need some public land hayfields.
Yeah, we need. Yeah, if you're hearing this, Congress, we need some
Public
alfalfa
land
fields
hayfields.
in the wilderness.
Put a giant pivot up there. Water it all year.
Water it
Let's
all
do
year,
it.
just so the hunting's better.
Yeah, animals like good feed, and it does seem like you could pretty much the borders on the map and hunt those, and you probably
I could
find
take you
critters.
to just about any region in Montana, and you find an alfalfa field that leads into some timber.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna find some animals.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So it is knowing your public lands, knowing your borders, access points, your roads that you can use, and taking advantage of all those, and also trying not to get frustrated. It's so frustrating when you do see them across the line or on private. But the deal is they don't own the elk, and the elk a lot of times, okay. So sometimes they do know they're on private, but a lot of times they don't know where the border is, and so they're going to cross back and forth, and you just got to be there to catch them.
Well, it doesn't take just a second, and I mean, just like he talked about how much ground they can cover. I mean, they can.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we watched
that 6-point bull the other day.
Jump the fence, and the next thing you know, they're 400 yards in public, and it's like, oh, that happened quick.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's give us an opportunity, or he's passed us all of a sudden. You're like, holy cow, what just happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that knowing your borders and hunting them and taking advantage of that public land that butts up against private. And yeah, I'd love to find them in the middle of the back country. I love to find them miles back and have it all to my own. And sometimes that is the scenario. But a lot of times those animals or those critters are working that edge of private public, and you got to hunt your public land that you can access and get to. And so it is about taking advantage of it. But yeah, you do end up hunting a lot of borders.
Yeah, a lot of borders, and you pull up to a place, a trailhead, and there's 2-3 other trucks sitting there, and you're like, dang it. But there's a lot more elk up there, and that mountain's huge.
Well, we found this year that there may be 6 trucks there.
Yeah.
But the chances of them people going back, like way back to where we've all went, is not.
Yeah, push through it.
Yeah, you just gotta. I mean, I enjoy being. I mean, as much as I bitch about it, I enjoy being hunting with Brian, and just.
Oh yeah.
You go to places that you could never. I mean, some of the pictures I photographed are like where's that? I'm like, it doesn't matter if I tell you where it's at, because you would not be willing to go back to that place. Like, it's just one of those opportunistic times and I'm grateful for the opportunity that I've had. So
no, hunting with this guy, it's always an adventure. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
likewise. You guys make great partners. Yeah, shared in some success, and hopefully next couple of days get in a bit more.
Yeah, let's go put some miles on in the morning, get some sleep here in a little bit.
Go climb some hills.
Go climb some hills. Go sweat in the snow tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be fun. Hopefully we can find a few. Well, yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Hey, this podcast is sponsored by Everly Stock. You guys have been seeing me use those packs.
Yep.
So, Logan, for your laptop, man, I got this sweet. It's an undercover brief, so it's this killer case for your laptop in there, and also has like a spot that's concealed for your sidearm there.
So
awesome. I'll make sure to get that to you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for Everly Stock for sponsoring the podcast. And I appreciate it, guys. Let's keep hunting hard and get after these things and see if we can't knock one down in the dirt.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Really fun podcast with my buddies. I just always enjoy these live ones, and especially at my house and in this setting, and to sit down and discuss elk hunting and different theories on it. It's just a really fun conversation to have, and I just enjoy hanging out with my buddies, and it's basically just press record, and it's the same things we'd be talking about whether I have the podcast recording or not. Like we're always talking hunting and the next hunts we want to go on and theories on it, and it's so fun to have passion in life, and something that you just truly enjoy with every fiber of your being, and something that you want to work hard at. Like it's like we talked about, I don't know how much we talked about sleeping in the ditch, but that was kind of our running joke, sleeping in that ditch. And that one night it rained on us, and it was a trying experience. We were in bivy sacks, and I just love that. It's like this lasting fun. And I heard Steve Rinella refer to it like how a roller coaster, you never think back and go, how fun was that roller coaster? It's like this cheap thrill, or this cheap fun that you have, where it's fun while you're doing it. It's exciting for those 5 minutes, but you don't really look back on it and say how much fun was that. But when you get done with these hunts, and they're grueling and takes hard work, and it's it tests you both physically and mentally, and either you have success or you don't have success. I mean, some of my best hunts and best encounters are when I don't arrow an animal, just getting into them, and the thrill of that, and the challenge of it. Like, that's what I enjoy. And I get back from a tough hunt, or get back like Colorado, you get back from that, or Nevada, and I get back, and man, it's all I can think about. I just want to be back in there, and I want to do it again. And it fuels me for the next year, is these adventures that I have at being on them. So it's just so fun that we have that as backcountry hunters, and something we love to do. And I think a lot of Americans are lost in today's day and age, but boy, for us guys that have passion, it just gives us something to live for, and something to be excited about. And it's something special to me, and I know it is to you guys too. So, fun podcast. Sponsor for today was Everly Stock. Again, just a great company that makes great packs. They make them for a great price point. I'm really enjoying their kite pack as a day pack, their little big top for small expedition hunts, and then their battleship for these longer 7 to 10 day hunts and packing a lot of weight, big pack outs for elk and things like that. So really enjoying their products. I really like the company. I really like Glenn Eberly. He's just a great guy. I can't wait to get back together with him, and I want to sit down and record another podcast with him. He's just a super interesting guy, and you just kind of wind him up and get him going, and you don't even really have to wind him up. You just get together with him, and the guy, he just he exudes passion, and for whatever it was, like we had him on the last podcast, and he was talking about fixing up that Jeep and the adventure from driving it back from Canada, and that really resonated with me. It doesn't always have to be a backcountry adventure. I just like talking to guys with passion, and he's definitely got it. So thanks to Eberly Stock for sponsoring the podcast and everything they do. I sure appreciate it. And yeah, good going Eastman's crew. We've been hunting hard and seen a lot of quality animals hit the deck. I saw a great antelope from Guy the other day, and the hunt winners have done good. We give away hunts for Eastman's Bow Hunting Journal. Well, basically subscription giveaways, and we also did a digital subscription giveaway, and I saw the gal that won that. She harvested a nice antelope, and so it's been fun. Those guys have been hunting hard and been getting some critters of their own, and I can't wait to see what they turn up here in this late season, and same with me. I got to get some work done here, but I just can't wait for the next adventure, so put my head down, work really hard in the evenings, get caught up with everything, record some good podcasts with some guys that I've been seeing having some success this season, and guys I want to visit with, and get you guys out some good content, and then start planning that next adventure. I love it. I love hunting season. But thanks you guys for all the support. Thanks for reaching out to my guests and letting them know you enjoyed them, sharing their content. Really brings weight to the podcast, and yeah, just thanks to you guys for everything you do. Without you, there is no podcast, and so I really appreciate it, and I really enjoy seeing and sharing in your guys' success this year. The guys that have sent me messages and killed nice bulls or nice bucks. It's really fun to share in your success, and I'm super psyched for you. And you guys earn every bit of it. It is not easy out there, and some of these quality hunters, me included, you make it look easy sometimes when you harvest a buck or an antelope or a bull. It's not. It is one of the most difficult things out there, especially with a bow and arrow, especially on public ground. Now, any trophy harvested with rifle can be really tough too, and private ground or whatever. But there's just something special about that hard work public ground bow and arrow. Like, man, oh man, that is so difficult to accomplish. So be proud, of your accomplishments, and keep putting in the work. Effort equals success, and you always get out of it what you put into it. So thanks a bunch, guys. I appreciate it. I'll check in with you next week.